Mr. Andrew, why were you so late? Everyone thinks there isn't Zoom. Let me tell them there's Zoom.
Okay.
Where is Zoom, guys? He started it.
I'm
Yes.
actually trying to figure out a good comparison with history that you guys have not come up with.
Oof.
That's actually good. It means that you guys are getting these without me having to tell you. And you're getting all the good ones.
Also, I'm gonna try and get Kyle to join because it's our final. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Hendro.
Hey.
Wow. Okay. He doesn't even say hi yet. I'm back.
He said hey.
Yeah, you're
He
dead.
didn't say my name. What?
Yeah, nobody wants to say your name.
What? Mr. Hendro, can I sue Jonathan for bullying?
Can I sue Yedam for doing unspeakable acts to animals?
What do you mean? Oh my god, John, stop making up rumors!
What do you mean?
It's not a rumor if it happened.
You're green as
Wait.
Whoa.
That cat in the bread.
Yeah.
That's not a stock footage image or a meme.
Wow.
It's
a meme, but there are other things that she's done, Mr. Hendro.
Yeah,
Mr.
Hendro, why do you think her cat's dead?
Jonathan, Mr. Hendro,
your cat got eaten.
Shut up.
That's me.
Oh my wow.
Norm, do you know how much?
I'm gonna.
Norm, okay. Whoa. Do you know how much Yedam made fun of my cat, which got eaten by my neighbor's dog?
Bruh.
Jonathan,
Do you know how much Yedam was talking about it?
Directly made fun of me.
Yedam, do you know what? Do you know how? What is it? Not even directly, indirectly, but very oddly, specifically harassed me.
Do you know how you specifically and directly
Mr. Hendro.
bullied me?
Mr. Hendro.
Are you sure you're the only one?
So we thought we won't be able to go to Korea because Indonesia government was like, we're gonna block all air flights, but then turns out the internationals are still allowed. Probably most of us are going tomorrow at the same time.
Mr. Hendro, apparently
it's gonna take longer
my flight has been changed to tomorrow, and I didn't even know because my mom didn't tell me. And Shore was like, "Hey, get up! You're going with me tomorrow." I was like, "What?"
There's a reason your mom doesn't tell you a lot of things.
No, she was like, it's cause you are in class, and you know. I was like, "Oh yes."
Just a second. Jesse, this is history.
Yeah.
Mr. Hendro, he wants extra
Mr. Hendro.
Mr. Hendro, you need to explain to Kyle about our final.
Because he hasn't been here and he's been watching, or he's been playing.
He's been watching me
Fortnite. Mr. Hendro, I understand what our Zoom is, because I mean our finalists, because I've been watching the Zooms, guys. Goodness gracious, because Mr. Hendro uploads the Zooms. Thank you, Mr. Hendro. Not every teacher's been doing that, and it's really annoying.
Actually, a lot of teachers have.
All right, I love you, Mr. Hendro. Goodbye.
Yeah, Jesse, that was quick.
Didn't say no homo.
He didn't say no homo.
Bro, Mr. Hendro. Mr. Hendro.
Aduh. Sampai nggak pikir begitu.
Do I have permission?
I haven't heard that much
brother?
homophobia since I went to an all-boys school.
No.
Whoa.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Mr. Hendro, do I have to be here, or can I just go to bed and you'll upload the Zoom?
The Zoom will end up being uploaded. Actually, I would like to know what's your topic.
Nazism and how it's coming back, and how like being
Kyle.
nationalistic is. What now?
Stick around.
Jesse, all right, Jesse's flexing.
Okay, just stick around for a second. So I was trying to think of something that you guys haven't come up with that I can give you an example of how someone would talk about this, a comparison between the past and now. And the only thing that I could really think about that was not something that you guys have covered is the shocking similarity between the current political situation in America and the late Roman Republic partisanship.
I can
There's
see
a
why
lot.
we choose that topic.
Pardon? Someone said something. I didn't hear that.
I think it was Shoram, but
I said something and then Billy said something, but I said I can see why we wouldn't choose that topic.
Why wouldn't you choose that topic?
Because we don't know anything about it.
Trauma.
Really?
Oh wait, and
Well-
about politics, it's very nightmare fuel-ish.
Yeah, but it's the sort of thing that will do.
Us good? No,
No,
thank you.
no. It's the sort of thing that when you see what happens, probably in your lifetime, that you won't be surprised. So my prediction is partisanship will lead to a Caesar.
A Caesar.
Yeah. So partisanship will lead to a Caesar.
What?
You know why
What's
Julius Caesar
partisanship?
is considered the first emperor of Rome?
Why?
Because he basically dismantled Roman democracy.
Oof.
So you're getting into a period in American history where their military structure, their political structure is exported worldwide. They export their beliefs, their culture, their values, their way of doing things, their business management, all that. And they also export their political systems. Most of the world is currently democracy. In exactly the same way that the Roman world was a democracy, they were exporting their ideas, beliefs, values, etc. This is why most languages today still have Latin roots. This is why the ATMs in Vatican City are still in Latin. There is a long history of exporting Latin worldwide. Even in the 14th century, it was still the language of the clergy. That's what people spoke in. The Holy Roman Empire, when he visited Paris in 1378, was still speaking in Latin 1,000 years after the Roman Republic died. So at the moment, you have this situation where America is really, truly a global power. It's probably almost a monopoly, not monopoly, but monopoly, where there's just one worldwide global power. The same way that Rome was a worldwide global power. Now, in the same way as the end of the Roman Republic, you had two groups. You had one group that was, I think they were Sullan and Marian. I think that's the term. Now, I'm not going to go into a huge detail about this, but let's just say this is kind of like partisan politics today in America, where you have Republicans and Democrats. It's kind of like partisan politics in Australia, where you have Liberal and Labor. It's kind of like partisan politics in just about any country. Do you have in Korea two main parties that kind of fight with each other?
yes.
We have multiple though.
Okay. Are your parents kind of passionate sometimes about how they explain this is
no.
these people are wrong?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not my parents.
Okay. So the problem with partisanship, I should start with explaining that people do why partisanship exists first. So people have different belief systems and different ideologies. If you look at the American political spectrum, both sides are fairly centrist. They're not extreme communist. They're not extreme fascist. They're kind of centrist, but they're a little bit off center. And you would say that the Republicans are slightly more right and the Democrats are slightly more left. But they are really centrist governments. They're not super communist and they're not super fascist. They're kind of centrist. The problem the reason why they're there is because you have people that believe different things. You have some people that say the rich people should be subsidizing the poor, and some other people saying the poor people should work harder because the rich people only are rich because they work hard. And there's so many arguments back and forth, and who's actually correct is difficult to ascertain. The weird thing is you can have Christians on both sides, and yet one particular party says that we are Christian and the other party says we are science-based. And that's kind of weird. Everything becomes polarized. This partisanship is where you start seeing everything either A or B, and you can't have elements of both. You don't have a mixing. It's very extreme. To the point where, and this is the dangerous point that we are at now, where you don't talk about the differences in ideas. You don't say, I don't agree with your ideas. Let's talk about those ideas, and I'm going to try to convince you that my idea is better than your idea. You don't have those discussions anymore. The discussions have changed to a point where they go, it's not your ideas are wrong, you are wrong. Therefore, there's labels there. You instead of saying your ideas are very nationalistic, you start calling people Nazis. You got that? You got that, Kyle? You cannot fix a Nazi. The best possible solution you could have would be a re-education camp, and it gets worse from there. Can you see how that sort of system today is problematic? If you look at the late Roman Republic, it was worse. Consider the same political situation you have today, but in a time before Christianity. You had people, when people didn't like if I didn't like Republicans back in the, let's say called the two groups of people that were back in that time, there was Sulla and there was Marius. Now, Marius is a war hero. Sulla is also a war hero. Different wars. Both of these guys have completely different political ideologies. When one's in power, he starts doing all sorts of things. And when the next person comes to power, he kills all the other people that used to vote for Marius. It would be like if you changed governments in America today, instead of just swapping out people, you execute the people that were from the other party. And it got worse from there. The current situation that we have is similar to the Roman situation at that point. There is people attacking people for who they are rather than their ideas. You don't argue. You can argue about ideas. You cannot have a reasoned discussion when the other person is the problem rather than their way of thinking. This is what led to Caesar. A lot of people said, I don't want this argument. Can't you just have one person in control to just decide what is right and what is wrong? And you got Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar basically said, yep, democracy doesn't work. I'm taking complete control.
It became communist?
No, it became a dictatorship.
Ah, okay.
I don't even think the ideas of communism and capitalism really work in a economy that is largely slave-driven. Not that Rome was particularly democratic to start with. If there was something like, each Roman citizen would own somewhere between 20 and 200 slaves, sort of thing.
What? Okay, I don't get how this relates to our essay.
Okay, so
because Dylan, he's saying it's like that situation in Rome is like the current situation in America.
Yep. Or actually worldwide. I can see it in Australia. I can see it in Indonesia. I'm guessing it's the same in Korea as well. I know it's the same in England. You have these people that say you're a communist and the other people that say you're a fascist. Where instead of saying I don't agree with your idea, it's too socialist. Or I don't agree with your idea, it's just overly nationalistic. I don't hear those arguments. I don't hear we should be more globally inclined because of these reasons, or we should be more protectionist because of these reasons. It's you're a protectionist, die. You're a globalist, die, sort of thing. it's already come to a situation where there's very little discussion going on. And I don't see a way to release that pressure. I don't see a way to get rid of that valve. In the last 70 odd years, 75 years maybe, you have seen the power of the presidency in the United States go slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly higher. You know, the president used to not be able to, actually, how many people believe, who declares war in the United States? If the United States go to war, who declares war?
Not the president.
The
anymore.
president. The president.
Wait, no,
The president.
I don't think. Wait, declare.
Wait,
It's
hold
Senate's,
up.
right?
No. If it's a really, like, if it's an emergency and he needs to declare it right then, he can declare it. But otherwise, the Congress declares it.
What he said.
This is an interesting problem, because when the U.S. government was it was established, anytime you would declare a war, it would take a few months for people to actually get an army together and move it overseas. So
it's not like prepare and then war. It's war then prepare.
Just a second, Daniel.
Okay.
The power in America is supposedly Congress declares war, but in actuality, the American president declares war and then goes to Congress and asks for them to ratify the event. The Vietnam War was never a declared war.
Oh.
The Iran-Iraq War was never declared.
Okay.
How was the Iran-Iraq War? There's been one war that was kind of declared by Congress. Any other acts of war that were done, like airstrikes into Bosnia, airstrikes into I mean, I don't think the Afghanistan war was sanctioned by Congress. There's been a bunch of these times where the American president has been the one to declare war, and it's kind of just been like, oh yeah, but the guy's pretty good. Like Eisenhower's fine, Carter, Reagan, Ford, JFK, all those guys, they're reasonable sort of people. We're just going to let them have that power. And so they've slowly gotten more and more power to do stuff. And
then Trump comes in and he's like, "Whoa, drone strike, you're dead, Iranian dude."
Yeah, and the people there don't know what happened. The congressmen go, "Wait, what? We never would have authorized this sort of thing," so they don't have power anymore. And that's a change from 100 years ago. In 1920, the American president did not have the kind of power he has now. It's much more, the presidential position in America is much more closer to a Julius Caesar than it is to a consul in the Roman Republic. And that is deliberate. Okay, so this would be the way this is an example of how I would argue that it's similar to the Roman Republic. So I'm taking a modern situation and an ancient situation, and I'm comparing them. So what can I learn from the ancient situation? The ancient situation, there was a huge civil war between Julius Caesar and, weirdly enough, his son-in-law, who was older than him.
What?
Run that past you again. Julius Caesar had a civil war, the Roman Civil War, and the guy that was in charge of the other side was a guy called Pompey. So Pompey was older than Julius Caesar, but married to Julius Caesar's daughter in a political alliance.
That's not weird at all.
And apparently it was a decent marriage. The other guy, although it was a political marriage, there was considered to be one of those ones that actually did work. The records say that he cried after his wife died. Anyway, so just throwing away the family connections here. When the war actually happened, you had Roman legions fighting Roman legions. So it's difficult to explain. When we studied Caesar, you had all these amazing things that he did to conquer the Gauls, to fight the Cimbri and all those sort of people. But fighting against other Roman legions, you have two giant engineering corps fighting each other. They built defensive walls for tens of miles opposite each other. They were just enormous fortifications that went from halfway across the Italian peninsula as they fought. Whoever could get to the sea first or that sort of thing. It was madness. And it just went on and on and on. And it was very bitter because you had people on both sides who knew each other. And could you imagine a sacking of a Roman city by a Roman army? The way they did it was not in such a way where they go, oh, yes, you're also Roman, we're going to spare you. It was, if anything, they went into battle, the Roman legions, carrying chains in the anticipation of taking slaves, their own countrymen. That's how bad the situation was.
Are you saying that it's worse to take slaves of your own countrymen than to take slaves of other people?
Well, what I'm trying to point out is they did not have any of this feeling of nationalism. It wasn't, oh, you're also Roman, therefore you're on my side. That wasn't even there. That situation in America now, would you live in the, if you had some of the Democrats and some of the Republicans living next to each other, they might not even talk. Some of the stuff that I see, like the protests against the governors, people open carrying, those protests in Michigan that just happened recently, those people were carrying rifles. Not just rifles, semi-automatic rifles. It's like armed protesters. It was bizarre.
Sounds bizarre.
You should see the photographs. It's open carry.
Wait, what protest?
Michigan protests. So this was only a few. This was only a few days ago. So these guys here, these are protesting. These guys are protesting, saying "Reopen America." And I can't really see the. Okay, these guys are protesting in Michigan. These are the protesters. They're wearing ski masks and carrying assault rifles. And they're calling the governor Heil Whitmer. This is the situation in America now, where you have these groups doing this. This is not, by the way, this is such a minority. This is less than 5%. This is less than 5% of 5% of 5% of the population, in my opinion. It is such a small window of what America is like. But they're the ones that get the screen time.
Why is he carrying a plastic water bottle?
Where? There.
Yeah.
You gotta be drinking something when you're taking over, when you're disestablishing the government.
He's got a mask on. How's he gonna do that?
Bruh.
Well, you get the mask very wet when you're doing the drinking.
Is he using a Carhartt beanie?
I don't know. The thing that concerns me though is that they're open carrying. They're carrying loaded firearms in the middle of a protest.
They look more like airsoft guns.
I would not be trying to test that. So that's the sort of situation you have in America at the moment. I am not saying that it's exactly the same as the end of the Roman Republic, but there are some things that I would take from it. One is you're going to lose a lot of your democratic freedoms in a short period of time. And by short period of time, I mean less than 50 years. You're going to have a much more authoritarian government where the government says this is what's going to happen. And I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying it's different.
Mr. Andrew?
Yep.
I have a question.
Yep.
Do you know if the thing on Google Classroom where has a sort of the built-in rubric on the assignment?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if that's new?
Do I know of what?
That's a new update, is it?
What do you mean? I wrote the rubric.
No. Hold on. I mean, it's related to my essay, but like, because like, I don't know how to explain it.
How about I open the rubric? This one, right? This rubric? Effort,
Yeah.
format, argument, writing?
Kind of.
All right.
It shows it differently on my screen, but
Okay.
is that
Well, what would happen? Do you mind if I use yours as an example? And I'll just show how it's graded.
Mr. Andrew, I think Billy's just asking if that's a new feature.
It's a new feature of Google Classroom. I love it.
okay? Good.
Not us.
I was
Yeah,
asking.
no need to go into explain.
Okay,
Yes.
never mind.
Oh, what? Billy? Never mind.
Okay. So that's an example of a modern situation that I think is we could learn a lesson from the past. And do we want to even change that? You potentially could, but you need to start viewing people as people rather than as argue against people's ideas. There's a reason why the Bible talks about us tearing down strongholds in terms of ideas rather than people. I don't know how to do that though. How to change an entire country's partisanship problems.
Oof.
In theory, this pandemic should fix it, but if anything, it's made it worse.
Why?
A second.
Entire brother.
Now, it's kind of where I'm just trying to find one of these articles where they actually talked about the differences between the ideas that people had. So there should be some. This is the Atlantic. This has a very, very strong Democrat bias. So take that with a grain of salt. This is not something from Fox News, which has a very, very Republican bias. There should be some sort of polling thing where they actually show the difference. Not this one. Some of the ones that I've read. United States of America. That's March 29th, almost a month ago. United States of America responses to coronavirus shaped by hyper-partisan politics. I really want to see this. There should be a graph that actually tells you the differences. Aduh. Republican, Democrat, coronavirus. I remember reading.
Coronavirus.
Yes, but you want to see. Let me just have a look at. Let's just see how many people. A while ago, to summarize it, basically it was that. Here we go. It's a poll. It's probably this is what I'm looking for is the poll. So I'm not saying that this is people's fault. This can be the media problem as well. And I'm pretty sure that,
like false news.
when you have people saying on Fox News things like worst case scenario, it could be just be the flu, that sort of thing. It tends to downplay it. Where is the? All right, it doesn't actually show the poll, but this is the poll that I can remember seeing. That 68. This is in March 15th, so this is over a month ago. 68% of Democrats are worried that someone in their family could catch the virus, while just 40% of Republicans. Do you get the difference?
I think so.
So 7 out of 10 people that are Democrats are worried about coronavirus, while only 40% of Republicans were worried about coronavirus. Maybe if I put in the word poll.
Is that supposed to be worrying?
If it was the whole country the same, I wouldn't really bat an eyelid. I just say they're doing a good job or doing a bad job. The trouble is how much people believe coronavirus is a problem depends on your party politics. That's madness. I can't really, it's affecting the way people function. Is this the one? Oh, they just give numbers instead of showing pictures. Generic ballot. That's not what I'm after. Basically, because at the beginning of the coronavirus outbreak, the Republicans were saying, let's not shut down the economy because they're giving the reasons that the coronavirus was not that big a deal. They
Is it
said
not? It is, right?
what people believe is different. And by the way, the countries, the states on the coast are generally more Democrat than the states in the middle. So the rural areas. So the places that were getting hit by coronavirus first are Democratic areas, while the Republican areas are in the middle. They're not seeing a difference as much. So it might be something to do with that.
I don't think there's like an answer to it. It's just, I don't
Yeah,
think
but it should be just that it should be that the coronavirus is dangerous or it's not. Why would your partisan politics play into your understanding of truth?
there's so many big words I don't even understand.
So, if how can I do this in a way that might understand? Is Melody a good player at basketball?
Sure.
All right. Does it matter if you're a person going to CIS or a person going to Wesley, whether or not she's a good player?
No.
It should be an established fact. Correct?
Yeah. It's
All
a
right.
skill, not person or place, right?
Right. But if you had a news campaign or an ad campaign at CIS that said that was like either hyping up a certain basketball player at Wesley and another ad campaign in Wesley hyping down a certain basketball player, what does that change the reality?
No.
No, it doesn't change the reality. Why then do people in these different regions respond differently depending on their party and politic affiliation, what they vote for? That's what I find weird. It's gotten to that level worldwide. We're not talking about your ideas, we're talking about you're wrong, you're evil, you're lying to us, fake news, blah, blah, blah. It's toxic. And this is why someone's going to eventually say it would be better that we have a Julius Caesar rather than have all this bickering and fighting in our countries. Wouldn't it be nice to just have one person in charge that could say, this is the way it's going to be?
Well, that one person could be also, who's that guy called?
A dictator, Joseph Stalin?
Hitler.
Yes, exactly.
So no.
Okay. Then you're one of these people that needs to keep listening to the other side. You're the one that needs to go, I'm going to listen to your arguments, however stupid or evil I think that they are, and talk about the arguments rather than you.
Okay.
Because it's not a clear-cut thing. If you say that the Republicans are stupid for not believing in the coronavirus being a problem, this is also the same group of people that are anti-abortion and the Democrats are pro-abortion. Can you see how you've started that there's a long-term history problem here?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm not going to add any more. If that's enough for all of you, I'm going to give you time to ask questions. If you are interested, I will put in a link to I'll put in a link to a podcast that actually discusses this issue. If you want to listen to this more, there it is in the chat. It's not super long as far as I understand. It's only, don't even think it's an hour long.
Common sense.
I'm terribly sorry. It's an hour and a half long. Hey, if you're going on an aircraft flight and you're going to be stuck listening to something, why not just put on something that you can learn from?
Why not listen to music?
Yeah, because it's.
Yes.
Because he's a boomer.
Mr. Hendro, I would rather not listen to it in spite of you.
Okay, just spite. Okay.
Mr. Andrew,
Yes, Billy.
if you can put all of that to music, then I think everybody would want to listen to it. You could just like sing out the whole thing. That'd be great.
Depends if it's good music.
Yeah, make an instrumental version.
Yeah,
Make
make sure there's the
version.
bass and the guitars.
Aduh. Okay. All right.
Who's house hotspot?
I think it's Tim.
Yeah, it just gave me a random name.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about, or you just want to chat, say goodbye, good luck on the plane trip? You want to pray for each other?
I want to pray for Yadam's cat.
I'm not sure if that's.
I want to pray for Jonathan's cat.
I want to pray for my turtle that Ernest laughed at me for dying.
I still miss those. I still miss having prayer.
I miss having
Mr. Hendro,
Ernest.
I miss
He
having
used
a
to say
turtle.
nice. He used to tell Karina that she did nice work.
I want
He
to
still
pray for
does.
Karina's turtle's toe that fell off.
Yeah, it was a claw, not a toe. If it was a toe, it would have.
It was a toe.
It was unclaw. Okay.
Guys.
Yep.
You're doing prayer requests. There's someone that my family knew had diabetes, and she passed away this morning. And her mom is not doing so well right now. You can pray for her family.
Was this because of coronavirus?
No, she was already going way downhill because of diabetes.
Okay.
She'd already lost her sight, and she was just kidneys failing, stuff like that.
What was her name?
Widya?
Lutia.
Widya.
Widya. In Indonesia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about we pray for that now? You mind if I pray, Billy?
Yes, please.
Okay. Father God, we thank you for the time that the Samuelson have had with Ibu Widya. We thank you that. Was she a believer, Billy?
Yes, she was a believer.
Okay. We thank you that you gave that time. We thank you that you're taking her back to be with you. Please be with the Samuels, and please comfort Ibu Widya's mum. Please be the source of all comfort. Thank you, Father, for being God Emmanuel, God with us, that you are here with us through this time, that you are not self-isolating from us, that you are with us. Could you please provide Ibu Widya's mum with comfort during this time? Sometimes we just need people with skin on. We need something physical there, Father. Please give comforts to the Samos as well. In your precious name we pray.
Amen.
Okay. So who is going on the plane trip tomorrow? Yedam, Kyorim, Hajin, Hanbi?
I'm going next week
Okay.
on Thursday.
Okay. But Kyorim and Yedam are on the same trip tomorrow, are they?
Yeah. The thing is, there might be some changes and government might say no anymore. So
Okay.
right now we're planning to go, but some stuff might change.
Well, let's pray about that. Father God, we thank you that you are a God who opens doors. I pray that you would keep this bureaucracy at bay so that Yedam and Yorim can travel and their families can travel safely back to Korea. I pray for all the other families that need to go and come back that you would keep the ways open, that you would get them to where they need to be, Father. I pray for their safety. I pray for their health. Please keep them safe. Please keep them healthy. You are a God who is capable of doing this. And we trust you. And we know that you're going to do what is right and good. In your precious name we pray. Thank you for letting me pray for you guys. Okay. Is there anything else about the project? Because we got like 3 minutes, 13 minutes left.
It's due on Monday, but I heard you said it was Friday last time. You guys have to
it's
finish
due
it
on-
on Friday.
It's still on Monday. I didn't hear that. I thought it was due tomorrow or today for y'all, but tomorrow for me. I was just gonna do it tomorrow and be like, Mr. Henjo, tomorrow or Friday is tomorrow for me, so I'm just gonna turn it in late.
Well, let's have a
What,
look.
it's due today?
Let me
Oh,
just
no.
check. Okay, so Monday, April 27th is the due date. I would
So,
expect it done earlier, but I'm not going to be picky.
yes, thank you.
It needs to be in before the Monday class so I can assign you to other people.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
Wait,
now
Mr.
I
Andra, I thought you're checking us first.
I will be doing, yeah, so if you hand it in on Monday, I don't have time to check. It'll be going out without being checked.
Oof.
That's why I want it on Friday.
I mean, it doesn't matter, because, right? It doesn't matter, right?
What?
Does it matter? Does
Can
it
we,
matter?
would you still check it if we turned it in on Saturday?
I do need to grade it.
But would you check it on Saturday?
I will try.
Because people are traveling.
I will try.
We have a 6 hours layover.
Yes, I
Mr.
will
Hendra is
try.
due on Monday.
I
Becky, he said,
will
yeah, it is.
try.
Guys, Mr. Hendro said he will grade it 100% if you turn it in on Saturday. So
He will try.
We will
and
try.
Sunday, he said feel free to procrastinate.
Why can't
Sunday,
I?
11:59 p.m.
Why
Yeah.
does this force choke not work on you, Kyle?
Mr. Hendro's trying to
you need to
slap someone through
believe.
the internet.
Mr. Hendro, force chokes don't work on immortals, okay?
Mr. Hendro, wait,
Kyle,
Mr.
that's
Hendro,
why
Mr. Hendro, can you do that again? Yes, wait, just keep it there.
He's
It
gotta
looks-
take pictures.
It
Oh,
looks
you're
very
gonna-
wrong.
You're gonna
Because my
meme me, aren't
profile
you?
picture.
and
And I'm right next to you. So
Oh,
it looks very...
You're down at an angle. You're down there for me.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
for
same
me,
here.
Kyle's there, and Hajin's over here.
What a
For me,
legend! I'm the
it's
best.
like, it looks very, I don't know, it looks convincing that you're trying to choke me.
Oh. I mean, I'm next to Mr. Henry, so he's
Kinky.
choking me.
Wow. What?
Shut up,
Kyle!
Kyle!
Kyle. You know,
Kyle,
when,
no!
when,
Mr.
you know
Andrew,
when the
Kyle's
line
into
is there?
bondage.
When you cross the line, you're not supposed to take a running jump.
Miss Hendro, you know us Patricks. We always are doing our best, you know,
it's
exceeding
only
the
you.
limit.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. So long
We
time
all
is-
were like, we're gonna see average height, and we're gonna like take a big jump above that.
I wonder if we could do field day.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, you know the Wesley Field Day. I wonder if we could do that.
I'm just gonna
remotely
say I
and
have corona and not go.
and we just submit the last run and just play the videos of everybody running at the same time.
I would
Yes.
Photoshop me running.
It's like, okay, guys, you guys have to measure 1
Usain
meter.
Bolt.
Who's gonna win? 3, 2, 1.
I do. Okay, this has gotten very silly.
Wait, Mr. Andrew, can you check Kakao real quick? Because I'll send you this because I want to share it.
Mr. Hendro.
He
Okay,
wants you to make it his profile picture, Mr. Hendro.
this is gonna be bad.
Yes, looks very nice.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Mr. Hendro.
Okay.
Mr. Hendro.
Yes, Karen.
So what's happening on Monday?
Monday, I will be assigning the essays that have been written to someone else to grade. That means that what I want you to do, and I hope I can get enough people. So if there's 3 people doing the Great Depression, I'm going to cycle them around. So you're all looking at the same.
Or like with similar topics?
Yeah.
Wait,
Maybe
so
I'll even do similar and then dissimilar topics, so that you can have a look at what somebody else thinks.
is it like
from a completely different
one
point of view.
person critiques 2 people?
One person will be critiqued by 2 people and critique 2 people. So it's
okay.
once a week. So there's 2 weeks of critiquing other people, and then the last week is finishing up the draft, finishing up the essay. So
You're telling me I'm gonna critique people and I'm getting graded for it?
You're getting graded for your criticism. You should do a 1-page criticism of the way they're functioning.
What 1 page?
Finally,
It will be a 1-page criticism that requires you to use citations.
All of my years are finally being paid off. All of my training of criticizing people.
And you said it was useless.
I'm going to put you on people who are very, very nice, which will force you to be nice to them.
Jonathan, it's your job.
What?
You're the nicest.
Right, so I can just see how that would happen, Dylan, if I get Kyle to critique Jonathan. There'll be nothing left of his essay.
There'll be nothing, exactly.
Okay.
The bodies will be hidden.
All right, so I will see you guys on the Monday Zoom with an outline of the next task. Okay?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Andrew. And thank you
Yeah,
for
thank you.
pleasing Kyle in his weird
I'm glad you
Bye, I'm
continued
leaving.
in his weird fetishes.
I'm leaving before this gets reported to the government. That's dying.
I have to post.
Thank you.
Zoom.
Thank you, Mr. Andrew.
Bye bye.
Love how Kyle doesn't
Mr.
deny it.
Yeah,
See you
because
guys
we all
later.
know he lied.
Oh shit. Mr. Henshaw, can you tell me why my class hates me so much? I'd like an answer to that.
Kyle,
You know
Please, Kyle.
exactly why.
you know exactly why.
I think if people are teasing you, it's got nothing to do with whether they hate. It's not to do with they hate you. You tease people that you like and respect.
Yes, Dylan, that's
See,
why
Yadam,
we have
I respect
that
you.
Discord server.
Mr. Henshaw, for some
When
reason, I don't believe that.
No, seriously. If you were to tease someone and they start crying and breaking down, you're never going to tease them again. You know, you're going to say, I don't see you as a person.
Wait,
with
but
the
then-
fortitude to
Jonathan,
take a joke."
I'm crying.
Mr. Andrew, but then why does Kim Jong Un kill people when you do that to him?
Yeah, that's unhealthy. That's unhealthy type of bullying.
That's an unhealthy relationship.
It's toxic.
Mr. Hendro, I got a death threat from Jonathan and Korea.
What do you mean?
What?
Oh my goodness,
Yadam.
this is
You
not
changed your
healthy.
ethnicity, you know.
Mr. Henshaw,
Mr.
all I'm gonna say
Henshaw.
is,
Mr. Andrew, do you know why? She be changing her ethnicity real quick and saying some stuff, you know?
No!
I have to get ready for geography. I'm going to let you guys go.
Yadam, if you're bringing
Wait, Mr. Henshaw, Mr. Henshaw,
if you're
I
bringing
actually
us
have a
down, we're
legitimate
bringing you down
question
too.
about
Okay,
it.
what's your
Yeah.
legitimate
Okay, well,
question
we
about?
going down together.
Alright, we're just gonna ignore them and let them blabber in the background. So I
No,
haven't
we'll just
written
join the
anything.
Discord call. Bye.
Okay, I haven't written anything, but I've written like 2 sentences because I've just been reading.
That's
But
more
what
than
I've been.
you know. Okay,
Oh my goodness, Mr. Henshaw.
It's okay,
But
Kyle,
well,
I'm here for you.
I thank you, Dylan. I need to ask if this is like okay. I'm writing about like Nazism and stuff, and like about how nowadays in the world, like the world is more like Naziistic than we used to think it was. Like how in America the way they're treating immigrants is very, or like the way they're treating people, and like especially Mexicans is very like they're putting them in like, so if like illegal immigrants come across, they put them in like these terrible like prisons
Cages.
for a couple of to stuff, and then like in India with the detention centers, and how like in India how they like praise Hitler and stuff, and how in China if you're not like a good Chinese person, if you don't speak Mandarin, if you are like of a certain religion, if you have a religion, you're not atheist.
So instead of using the terms like fascist, etc., these are the two terms you should be looking at: globalist and nationalist. So these are the two concepts that are in conflict. I would almost to the point say that they are not mutually exclusive. You can be nationalistic and also think of yourself as a citizen of the world. Do you feel yourself to be a member of like the human race or a member of America first?
I'd say both, but
right. I think most people in the world would say I'm a member of the human race and I'm a member of my country. I'm proud of both. They are both part of my identity. One is not greater than the other. When you get to people who are globalists, they say that the ones that are hyper globalist, they're the people that say we are one group of people. Countries shouldn't exist almost. Like I would be quite willing to get rid of safeties from my country so that the world can do better. These are the sort of people that would say things like you need to shut down let's say the environmentalists. Like I think Greta Thunberg would be more globalist than she is Swedish in terms of her thinking. That's just a guess, by the way. I haven't actually studied her personality or her politics hugely, but I think she's much more about the world is more important than any particular country. The opposite is true for nationalists who say my country above all others. This is why the German national anthem during World War I and World War II is illegal in Germany these days.
Because it's too nationalistic?
Oh, no. Listen to the words. Deutschland, Deutschland über alles means Germany, Germany, above all the rest.
Yeah, so it's too nationalistic. It's too we're the best. Yeah, so that's what I'm like writing about how like all these nations in the world are like. So I have one for
just hold that thought for a second, because what you're looking at when you look at hyper-nationalism and hyper-globalism is that the people that are like red hard communists and globalists and the nationalists, these guys are a minor part of the population. They really are not representative. What's crazy is that these people are getting the airtime. If you had one person out of 100,000 that's fascist and actually believes in fascism, does that really constitute a problem in thinking?
No, right? Because it's only one.
Right, but that person has a platform. They can talk to lots of people.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's the fact that they can make themselves heard.
So the reason because these people are getting, like, even if like they're not the most popular, but they're the most agreed with, that's why they're put on. So if somebody holds like a Nazi like rally or something, that's going to be put on the news, even though that's only like 0.1% of the population.
Yes, it's not representative. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Did you watch Tiger King?
No.
But you've heard of it?
I have, yes.
Okay. Joe Exotic is not your average American.
No, he is not.
How on earth can people who watch that show go, America is crazy, when he's not representative?
That is, I see.
Okay.
Yeah. Carol Baskin. Killer husband whacked him.
Killer in Tiger Stripes.
It's such I've heard that song, so I haven't seen it because I don't have Netflix, but all my friends are talking about it, and I've memorized that song just from hearing it. It's so funny. All right, well, thank you, Mr. Hendra. Okay. Are you done, or you want to say more?
I'm done. I need to get to my next class.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Adios.
Good night.
Good night.